Shall I give you the feedback on what I kind of sort of feel the alchemy's done for
I love
me?
that.
I was kind of giving this a lot of thought last night, and I kind of probably hadn't quite realised how much it had done for me actually until I kind of really started to think about it. But I think I think I said to you at the time, like really enjoy the process,
Yeah.
for starters, and I think the thing that I enjoyed about it the most, it was kind of like in some ways potentially the most exciting thing you can be doing, right? Because like here you are as a person, and it's like you're going to find stuff out about yourself, which sounds really crazy, but it's almost kind of, you've got like these little fireworks going off in your head, because it's just kind of, wow, I wonder what I'm going to find out about myself. It was a bit like that, but the process was great. I remember when you kind of first started to kind of read it out to me, and I did feel quite emotional about it, and I think it was just because I kind of felt, gosh, it's me. It was a kind of really weird sort of sensation. But I think moving on from there, I think that probably what it's done for me, and as a kind of a leader and now kind of running this organization, is it's kind of, on one hand, it's given me permission to be me. That's really important, right? Because I was just trying to weirdly kind of fit in and be all things to all people, and it didn't feel comfortable or right. And then suddenly, by having gone through that process with you and you reading that out to me, it's not like I look at it every day to remind myself who I am, but I've just kind of stepped into, something else, and it's just kind of, because it's almost like, I don't know, like it's like you've given me that permission to be me. It's just
Yeah,
so
it's
that's
kind of a crazy psychology thing that's going on there, isn't it? And we look back at
yeah,
it and go, oh, what an idiot. I should have known that about myself. Like, as if I didn't. Of course I was already, but I don't know. What is it about needing permission? I don't know what that is, but everyone does. And I do.
yeah, yeah. It's just it's madness, and it was, but it's so. I think the wording, the way it's been put together, is so lovely as well. In terms of the storytelling around it. So it kind of feels, it feels nice. But definitely for me, so I was promoted in April. I can't remember exactly when we did this. Actually, I think it was before I went into that
It was.
position, and I've just kind of, it's just made a massive difference for me, simply because I'm turning up to work and being me. There's something about the ripple effect, for sure, in that, because I'm being me, and that it's kind of being kind of picked up by others. So like, for example, we've got like healing crystals in the office. They're not my healing crystals, right? They're not mine. I didn't take them in, but there's something about me kind of owning who I am that is kind of giving other people, permission to do that. We've got I've got some oracle cards in the office that, sometimes people come to my desk and are like, let's pull a card and whatever, and people are loving that. But and it's not uncomfortable. If I tried to do this a year ago, it would have been really weird for me and everyone else. But somehow now it's not. It's just everyone.
An ease in some ways.
Yeah, it's great. And when do you remember you've not, I don't expect you to remember the detail of the meditation thing that you took me through, but the essence was, we were in that kind of, it was like a bit of a Disney type thing, and loads of color in the marketplace.
Yeah, 100% remember. Yep.
And what I've found is that has stuck in my subconscious, I think, really, because I find myself using some of the words. So I'll talk about, kind of, whether it's to myself or sometimes even others, the lurkers.
Yes.
So it's in my mind. I'm almost kind of, and it's not a conscious thing. It's kind of identifying, right, this is all these people, this is all the color at the front, they're with me. Yeah, we've got the lurkers at the back in the brown cloaks. They're coming, give them time, it's that kind of thing. That stuck with me. And certainly when I'm coaching people, and it's kind of like over half the people in my organization now, they've stepped forward for coaching. So I've like 15 people since the beginning of the year that I've taken through this coaching program. And I'll come on to that in a minute. But and you remember the kind of going up the stairway,
and
showing them the view,
yeah,
and that again, you know, with coaching, it's just I'm very kind of it's what I'm doing, but again, not in a conscious way. But I think that whole story plays itself out in my head, and it's almost kind of the I don't know, that kind of gravitas maybe. So everything else that we've kind of gone through, it's like that story is kind of there in the background as this kind of reminder of the magic, I suppose.
yeah.
That's how it
Yeah,
feels.
and
So
like giving it, I've experienced that as, not that I've done this on myself, but that certainty is like, yeah, like that foundation. And so when you, I guess, you know, even just having that knowing that this is the journey that they're on, and then seeing it, the markers as they hit them, and going, oh yeah, they're on the right path, sort of. Do you feel that that's what's happening?
yeah, definitely. It's great, and it's and I think when I talk to other people about their experiences, I know that this piece is about me, but when I'm talking to other people, not in and out of coaching, right? Still that kind of, maybe through going through this for myself, it's easier for me to take people on that journey for themselves, or to help them to see things. And I think what it's also done is given me this real, I don't know, this sense of just calm, you know, because I think maybe because I feel like I do know myself, I'm in this role, you know, I'm not feeling particularly stressed by it. There's lots of, I don't know, decision making and lots to be done, particularly post pandemic in the industry, but I kind of don't feel that I'm attaching myself to the problems. You know, I can kind of stay back here, and it feels like that wise woman in the marketplace, right? It feels like that kind, and it's like that sorceress. I mean, it's my sorceress is my highest score anyway, but I kind of sort of feel that I can just stand back and just think it's all right. Everything's okay. And I think I'm kind of giving off that vibe to everyone else.
Saying it because you're not attaching yourself, because you're more, let's say that the experience of that storytelling through the marketplace, up the lighthouse and out the tower and looking out, knowing that storyline, and knowing that you've had that success with people and that they've traveled on that storyline, knowing that, let's identify that as your purpose, just for the sake of this conversation, but knowing that that's your purpose and being attached to the purpose rather than the problems, do you feel that that's what creates the calm?
Yeah, I do actually. Yeah, and I hadn't realised that. Thank you. I'm going to make a note of that thing that you just told me about myself. Yes, thank you. Yeah, no, that is exactly it. I think it's just kind of, you know, I'm just not getting sucked into, you know, the
washing machine. Yeah, like it feels much more like that sort of, I don't know why I just associate it to this energy of like a glacier just very slowly carving the valley, rather than a white water rushing down and turning into a washing machine. That's where all the attachment to problems and putting up bushfires and, you know, all that, getting wrapped up in other people's negative ego, let all that go, and you're just like, and this is the purpose, and anyone that wants to join me on this at any point in time is welcome, but this is what I'll be doing. You know?
Yeah, that is exactly how it feels, and it's infectious. You know, it's just like I've done a business update the last couple of days, and of course I'm talking about all sorts of stuff, including figures. But you know, my first slide was of talking about fires, of a forest fire, right? Because that's what we're doing at the moment. We're firefighting. And I kind of spoke to them. I'd asked my husband what it's like fighting fire, and he started off saying it's really exciting. And I was like, that's not really where I'm coming from. You know, let's just talk about how
more about the tragedy.
Yeah. And I was kind of likening that, you know, so I kind of acknowledged to them that this is where we're at. We're fighting fires, right? And you've got a pocket of fire here, and you've got a bigger one over there, and you don't know which one to do, sort of thing. And so again, I'm just kind of, you know, I suppose taking that high view, you know, of everything that's going on, acknowledging the shit, but it's kind of, you know, and I kind of just think I'm not getting sucked into it, and it's almost giving everyone else permission not to get sucked into it either, because it's like, well, if she's not, then, you know, because people want to follow, right?
Yeah, like this certainty is just underpinned, that they can just tap into and go, she's certain, I'm following her, she's my leader.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of the best thing in a way that I did this before going into this position, because I wonder, how I'd be if I hadn't have done this. Would I have been putting pressure on myself? Would I have taken their stuff on and how they're feeling and all the problems and getting sucked in, and I would have been all over the place. Whereas I kind of sort of feel the glacier thing is quite accurate actually. It's just like, okay, just we've got to keep moving through, and obviously it's not going to help anyone if we're all kind of going into panic mode, like, oh my god. So I think that's kind of that. And on the framework for coaching, I spent some time looking at this before I sort of I put a document together for the girls that I coach, and I changed it after I'd done this with you to bring in this framework. What I particularly liked was this scene, because I kind of sort of feel that in the workplace, quite often people feel that they're not seen, because obviously they're going into work pretending they've got all their shit together when half the time they just haven't got their shit together. And I think this is was me saying to them, like, I see you as you, and not as the person that you decide to present when you come into work. And they like that, and it's and sometimes I had one lady actually, she's Indian, and she started her coaching with me 2 or 3 weeks ago, and she came in and she started crying. I hadn't even said anything. She started crying, and I think it was just that kind of that safe space, basically, and I know this happens in coaching, right? We all blub and whatever, but the fact that I'm running the business, she's working in the business, in the working environment, we're going into a room together, and she feels that she can, let that emotion out, and that she can open up about how she's feeling, even about work, not just about home life. And then we come out the room and it's kind of, we're back to our day jobs. I kind of think it's really quite magical. It's magical for them, but for me as well, because obviously I get to see them. I get to understand them on a much deeper level, not just like, oh, this person is in that role doing that job. It's just like you understand them. And because I've coached so many now, and I understand them all, and I know their backgrounds, I can basically I've got a better idea of what it is they want and how to, how they want
strategy.
It's just like
you are automatically bringing in the whole person to the business strategy, because you know the whole person. So if you were to make decisions based on someone's skill set and compartmentalize it before now, then you as a leader would find yourself being let down in the future, because by the wrong strategy and people not being able to do what you need them to do, because they might be skilled in XYZ, but if ABC about their personal life isn't going to allow them to step in, then it all falls down, right? So that's incredible.
I think it's and this is what I think the workplace needs more of. It is about kind of understanding them as a whole person, and not just what they sort of decide to present. But the other thing I think that, and I remember you saying to me, I've created these soft power circles. So they come out the other side of coaching once a month. They come into a space, again, another safe space, and they connect with each other. And I was talking to Jo about this a couple of weeks ago. I was on the Be Love retreat, and I was talking to her about it, because I was saying that there's this, what we've got. When they do coaching, I put them into a WhatsApp group. So they're in the WhatsApp group. They come to the monthly meetings, and so what's happening now is that they're all connecting with each other. I remember you saying to me, like, you don't need to be the guru, of it all. And so I'm trying to kind of, ease myself back. But what they're doing now is they're connecting with each other, and they're opening up about the stuff they opened up to me about.
Oh, that's amazing.
So they're talking about, so again, someone in one of these meetings recently just sort of said, I was living on my own at the age of 12.
Oh, wow.
And the other reacted. They were like, oh my gosh, really. And she said, it's a story for another time, but it was relevant to the story she was telling in that moment. But And I kind of, even just that, and I just sat back and just watched it all going on, and I thought they're seeing each other in a different way.
Oh my God, I love that seen is now becoming seen, like
Yeah,
a one, what do you call it? 1 degree of separation. I love that.
yeah, and so
Look
they
at
are.
you.
No, it's great. I hadn't realised, so I started talking about it, and well, a bit, I think it's yeah, it's really it's magical, and it kind and the thing is, and this is what I was saying to Joe, is that for me, coaching is a double whammy, because I see the transformation in the coaching sessions, and then I see the transformation in the workplace,
Yes.
because I can see them coming out, the way that they connect with each other in relation to work, actually. And do you know what? Maybe they don't even realize it themselves. I don't know, but they're just the understanding of each other. There's less frustration because they're kind of understanding each other as a human being. And people will talk about relationships and ask everyone else, well, this is what I find. Am I the only one? Is this normal? I feel really unhappy. The others are contributing, and it's great. And I think for me, it's everything else, the alchemy stuff aside, it's vulnerability, right? And I talk about Brené Brown a lot.
Yes.
At work. A lot. But it's just allowing themselves to be vulnerable, and that's what I demonstrate to them. I show vulnerability, which can be quite tough, as a leader. I think it's a bit of a like, how's it going to go? So it's been a learning lesson for me, but when I show vulnerability, they're basically they're starting to do the same. So
did you that sort of framework that we mapped out, are you sort of following those sort of steps?
But yeah, I am actually, and what I did was, and I need to revisit it, because I was keen just to do something with it. And I kind of feel, in a very kind of clunky way, what I did was I took the one of many tools and I kind of slotted them into those areas.
Yeah, right. Well, that's perfect. That's good. If you were to sort of future state the impact on the organisation, what are some of the outcomes of people, like this sort of knock-on effect of you showing up in your vulnerability, understanding yourself, permission to be you, then you coach them to basically do the same thing? How do you see it sort of strategizing out for the organisation?
I think certainly, we're already starting to see results in the business just by it kind of in relation to teamwork, right, and collaboration, that people are. There were all these frustrations, and some of them, not all of them yet, but some of them have kind of fallen away. And it makes me realize that actually, yes, and I know there can be frustrations in the workplace, generally from kind of team to team. And that appears in part to have resolved itself just by people connecting with each other on a different level. So I'm thinking, well, the more that kind of goes on and continues, I think we'll see more of that. So rather than me trying to figure out where are the frustrations and what can we do about it, actually organically it's being kind of fixed by them and not me. So I think that would be the big thing. And I think, the other thing that I want to do, and I think that this is the start of the journey for the organisation, is to create that workplace where people can flourish and thrive, and when they feel they can come to work and just be themselves, and they know that is enough and that is okay, without the pretense, without putting the pressure on themselves. So I think certainly in relation to well-being, that will be a great thing as well, that our staff, when you sort of talk about personal sustainability, which I've started to talk to them about now, they've got to take that ownership and make sure that they're okay, but I'm supporting them to do this. And I think the whole well-being piece is so important now at work, and it's a really difficult subject actually, because well-being means different things to different people. So like a lot of organizations, we care about the well-being of our staff. They're essentially ticking boxes, and we've tried all these different things, and we don't really know, what do people want? We do mindful colouring, and we get brownies, and we do all this kind of stuff, and nothing particularly seems to work. But this does, and this is well-being, because it's like, you know, 'cause
What a
it's
wrap. That's going to be my tagline. Scrap your well-being box ticking programs and just do this. Just get your leader to do this and step
yeah,
fuck
it
in.
has, yeah, because
Amazing.
it helps them to understand, because you know, I don't know about you, when I remember when I was doing my my coaching training, I first did the needs creed, right? So needs creed, blank piece of paper. Half an hour later,
Yeah.
blank piece of paper,
Yeah.
because I didn't know, you know, what I needed. So even that piece in itself, to make people think, oh, shit, what do I need? And half the time they don't really know. So we have this thing where people make kind of suggestions, and they've got ideas, and it goes around each week. And somebody recently suggested morning meditation, like on a once a week or once a month. I can't remember what she said, but and I thought, gosh, for her to publicly say to the whole company, we should do a meditation.
Yeah.
I thought that's, you know, it's, yeah. And again, it's that corporate workspace where people feel, oh, certain things don't belong.
Yeah.
And they do, because we're all a bunch of human beings that just want to.
Yeah, exactly.
And
how many staff have you got that you're managing?
so I've got about 35 in my division.
Mm-hmm.
There's probably about kind of, you know, 300 or 400 in the UK, in the wider, 10,000 globally. But of course, Kath, what's happening is everyone's starting to ask questions. So I've got someone else from a different business division who's asked me to do a talk to his guys in the beginning of September. And then from another division, people are asking what I can do for them. And I've got other people wanting to talk to me we've got an association of women sort of travel executives. It's like a travel body in the UK. So I've been speaking to them. So it's just that kind of, you know, ripple effect. And but yeah, obviously my primary.
Anytime you want to drop my name while you're standing on stage,
yes,
1,000 people, please do.
Yeah, I'll give you a mention.
Yeah.
But,